Hey, and welcome, folks. This is This Week in Prophecy. I'm Sherman Ray, and want to just you might hear in the background some sounds, but that's all right. It's all good. Want to welcome you all to the broadcast today, and hope you're all having a great day. This Week in Prophecy is one of the newest shows we're producing out of Godstream.org, and it's a look at what's going on in the culture right now, and from a prophetic point of view. And so I'm really excited about it. If you've got something you'd like to talk to us about, maybe you're watching us on YouTube on our YouTube channel, definitely send us a note. Just go ahead and as a matter of fact, before you do that, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Let's hit that little button right here someplace. And if you'd like to leave something in the comment section, we'd love to talk to you. Find out really what makes you tick. I had a great response to the show so far, so we're really excited about that. But if you'd like to send us a note and you go ahead and you just want to be more private about it, you can definitely do that. Just go ahead and send it to thisweekinprophecy@gmail.com. It's thisweekinprophecy@gmail.com. Well, I want to welcome our co-host on the show. Aaron Newton is here in the house today. Aaron, how you doing today, brother?
Yo, what's happening? I'm good. I'm doing great.
Oh, go ahead and say that again, Aaron. I'm sorry.
The last couple of days.
Aaron, I cut you off on that, so go ahead and say that again.
Oh, doing great. Feeling great. Like last couple of days I just felt awesome. I feel like there's a shift. Something happened, and I don't know. I just been feeling great. Really good.
Awesome. So glad to hear that, bro. We've been having, in the last couple of weeks, we've seen so much going on in the culture that I couldn't wait to get to the show date. I really couldn't, because there's so much going on. And we're going to get to it here in just a minute. But we want to, in the last, now this is our 8th show. I noticed that we've had some prophetic moments by you and Aaron's, because Aaron's been used in the prophetic for a little while now. But one of the things that we've been noticing is that and people have mentioned that they're going, hey, we've been cutting you off on some of the prophetic stuff that you've been dreaming about. So we're going to leave plenty of time this time for it. So I know people are going to be very excited about that. So you let me know, Aaron, when you'd like to cut off, because we're going to give plenty of time today, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, there was a story, though, I want to get started with. And we were talking about this off air before, and I want to get to this. Now, there's a story out of, this is from The Guardian, and we were talking about this before. So The Guardian's got this story about this trio. And the headline of the story is this: 21st century is queer, is what they say. And this is kind of scary that they said 21st century is queer, accept it. The Harlem Gospel Travelers on prejudice in the church and singing for Joe Biden. This is kind of a scary one. I'm going to read just a little bit of this. Inspired by Beyonce and admired by Elton John, the talented trio are proud of their sexuality, but have been cold-shouldered by the gospel scene as a result. They explain their message of universal love. And so what we've got here is you've got 3 guys, George Mirage, another guy named Ifadayo Gatling, and Dennis Bailey. They are 3 gospel singers who are homosexuals, and they're just upset because in the Christian community, they're not getting the welcome that they think they should get in the Christian community. And this is I don't know if they just know that there's something wrong with this going on. So Aaron, what do you think about this couple or this trio?
I think this is tough, right? Like, um, I think that I don't know what they think they deserve. Like, I mean, first of all, seems that they think they deserve something. If you come to Jesus, you will be transformed, not transform Jesus to what you want. And to me, it seems very entitled. Uh, but you have a section of the body that is going that way. Some churches, they're where was I at, man? I was in Florida. I think it was oh man, the oldest city in America, the first, where the Spanish landed, where they had that humongous cross. I can't think Saint something. Anyways, and we were on this like tour of the city, and they had this Methodist church, and I saw it as like a big kind of cathedral looking church, but it had the rainbow flags flying in the front, and I thought to myself, like, you have just taken the gospel and twisted it to what you want. You're not really feeding on it and living what it is. You're twisting it to what makes you feel good, and that's demonic. I
Yeah,
really feel like the enemy is in, and this is the best place he can get his talons in and hurt the body.
I think I think you're hitting it on the head too. If you read any of the Jonathan Cahn stuff, Jonathan Cahn, for those of you, this might be the first time you're hearing about him. A prolific writer. I've got probably 5 of his books. One I've got right here in front of me. Finished one just a couple of days ago. Started another one. But talks about this spirit, this ancient spirit that we saw in the Old Testament, Ashtoreth, and has different forms, but this spirit was a female goddess. It was a goddess, and what this goddess wanted you to do is it wanted for you to worship it, but it not only did it say that, hey, guess I just want to live with you. It wanted to overtake society. And now you see this in the church. The church at one time basically said, hey, no way, we're not going to have any homosexuality. And then for a while there, they started letting it back in. And now the church is turning back, going, what were we thinking about? Because literally you have an entire in the Methodist movement, isn't it Methodist? That you have
Yeah, it's Methodist.
you have the whole Methodist wing, a certain branch of the Methodist Church. They accept homosexuality as a matter of fact, the guy who's running for vice president right now, Tim Walz, is a part of
On the
that.
Democrat side.
On the Democrats, yes, yes, on the Democrats.
On the Democrat side.
Yeah, on the Democrat side. He actually is in that one denomination in the Lutheran Church that accepts homosexuality as, hey, that's cool. And these guys, like you said, are going, oh no, we're fine. We just want to put our nose under the tent. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to just stop at just having their nose under the tent.
That Jonathan Cahn, right? He really puts pieces of the puzzles together, right? And using, he's a Jewish. He was a rabbi. I guess he's
Yeah,
a believer. He's a Christian,
sure. Yeah, I think he's
but
a
he is
completed
Jewish,
Jew.
and
Yeah.
he uses the Torah and he uses the Torah and the Bible together to fit these pieces of the puzzle, because a lot of Christians don't go deep into Jewish text. We have the Bible and that's it, right? But he uses both to go deep into those old texts and see, hey, where do these pieces fit together? And so, that what we see in that split is taking ground. I feel like it's always a battle, right? We say we're fighting the enemy. It's a battle. It's a battle, right? We have armor. He gave us armor for a reason. He didn't just say, "Oh, I'm gonna give you this armor, but it's just so you can wear in your house and then yell at the out the window." He gave us armor for a reason, but it's a battle, and in battles, you have many. In a war, you have many battles, and you're taking ground, right? Like, you think of World War I, they dug their trenches and they would come out and fight them and then run back. But sometimes they would take that trench and then go to the next one. You're taking back. So in that whole part, I see, it's like taking ground. So I just wanted to, I mean, it's not really related to that story, but he speaks about the different gods, right? And they come in and they plant their feet in, like, let's say New York City, and then it spreads out from there, like the homosexual movement, right?
Yep.
In that
Yep. Sure.
part, they took ground there. in that gay bar and spread out throughout the country. So they're taking ground, and as Christians are giving it to them by saying, "Yeah, we're going to accept that." Not you Jesus is really working on you. Um, then come in. It may take somebody, some amount of Sundays to whatever, however long. Some people could take 8 years for that Jesus to work out in them what needs to be worked out because people are stoned. But in that taking of ground, I saw this story, and it was from the 26th of August, so just a couple days ago or the other day in Texas. Um, they built the third largest statue in the country.
Yeah, yeah, I
It
saw
is
this story.
a
Yes, go for it. Yeah.
Hindu god.
Mhm.
It is a Hindu god, right? So the third
Yes.
largest statue in the country is a Hindu god. So all right, if you live in the spiritual sense, right? Like live in the spirit, pray in the spirit, listen in the spirit, right? When I pray, and I pray and I petition the Lord, but then I wait because He will speak to me. I have to be quiet and listen. I'm not waiting to speak again. And um, this is just how He speaks to me. And so this right here, this Hindu statue for in 2020, the enemy was taking ground with all these Black Lives Matter movement and all these things happening. And what were they doing? They were tearing down our history. We're going to tear down the statues, Abraham Lincoln, Christopher Columbus, George Washington. We're going to tear down history, and we're going to plant new history. We're going to plant new things because this is how the enemy takes ground. And we say like, oh, they're just kids who are misguided, whatever. Okay, but something's controlling them. There's a spirit out there telling these kids like, or whatever it is, whoever it is, do this, and them like, yeah, we're always looking for a cause to be behind, but really they were tearing down the wall. They were breaking the walls, and then so this 90-foot statue of this god, and oh man, I was reading it. I can't remember exactly, but it's Haman, Human, Haman. I guess that's how you pronounce it. I'm probably wrong, but remember we had talked about the H's, right?
Yeah, I
Hitler,
remember that. Yeah, sure did.
Houthis, and then
Yes.
here's another H. You know, it's just oh my goodness. Anyways, that's what I saw. I saw them planting their flag, saying this is now ours, and it's in Texas where they planted that other statue. So there was the one on the New York, and then they put one in the city of Houston. They planted that statue, but this time it was like had a dress or something, and that hurricane came through and chopped the head off of the
I
statue.
remember this. Isn't this great? That reminds you of an Old Testament story that you can go back to and say, hey, they came back in and they I think it was the god Chemosh that came in and he was laying down on his face. So I might be
Yeah.
wrong on that, but
It was the half fish, half man God. I don't remember what it is, but
yeah.
they had the ark in the temple, and God could not be in this place, right? So what do? Send it back, right? Send it back to the Israelites. We don't want that because everybody there was broke out in boils. They come in and the statue is knocked over. They put it back. Then the next day the hands and the feet were chopped off. Oh yeah, man.
This is what it is.
It's
God is funny this way. God's probably saying, "Yeah, go ahead and bring that 90 foot." I can almost guarantee you, within a year, that statue is going to be gone. I can see something's going to happen to it. Something's going to crack in it or something like that, and it's going to fall over. And people are going to say, "Wow, who was the engineer on this thing?" Right? They're going to blame it on something natural. But so I'm going to prophesy right now something horrific is going to happen to this 90-foot statue.
it's I mean it's the same city. They put that other statue, the Ishtar. Oh no, it's art. Yeah, whatever. It's Ishtar. They put that statue in the University of Houston, like in a park or something, and then the hurricane came through, chopped the head off. Then they put this 90-foot statue of this Hindu, you know, whatever. I didn't want to use the word God because it's just whatever. With
we just call it
in the same city.
Yeah, we'll just call it an idol. It's an idol.
Yeah,
but it's not.
Let's
it's
say
not
a metal.
a metal.
an idol made of
It's
metal.
it's going to be a future pile of whatever because it's not going to stay up. Let's move on a
Yeah.
little bit. This is very interesting.
Okay.
We have another story that came along. This one's actually from Prophecy Newswatch, and this is talking about Kamala Harris. Excuse me. For those of you who are just watching the broadcast right now, I'm Pastor Sherman Ray, and this is Aaron Newton. We're co-hosting the show This Week in Prophecy. We encourage you folks, if you've got any kind of commentary you'd like to leave in the comment section, go ahead and just leave it down there below us. We'll definitely get to that. We'd love to answer any questions that you might have. Also, if you'd like to write to us, go ahead and write to us at thisweekinprophecy@gmail.com. thisweekinprophecy@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your comments. There was a story, Prophecy Newswatch, and it is a story about Kamala Harris, and I think these are timely. These are trendy stories where Kamala Harris, they're saying, is Kamala Harris really duping America? Does she really support Israel? Now, this is a very interesting story, and it goes on quite a bit. And what they're basically saying is Kamala Harris says that she supports Israel, but this is the same thing Barack Obama said in 2008. In 2008, Barack Obama said, hey, we support traditional marriage, when he actually didn't and never did. He was just doing it to get votes. Now now we fast forward into 2024. Kamala Harris has a voting base of Jewish people who are going to, raise an eyebrow because Israel has been under attack by Hamas in Gaza, and Harris is not saying, hey, guess what? Go ahead and do whatever you have to do, Israel. She's been kind of tempered in what she's been saying. As a matter of fact, she's been very measured about it. She's going, yes, go ahead and, defend yourself, Israel, but don't kill so many people. And so is she actually, does she actually support Israel, or is she duping everybody just to get votes? What do you think?
So she's lying, 100%. So I'll just say that. I mean,
she's lying.
she's lying. Let me give you an example of why. So when I was in the military, I think it was 2003, 2001 to 2003. I was stationed in San Diego, and Obama had put all these restrictions on the military and fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq, and he really put all these restrictions, saying, "Oh well, there's civilians getting killed, and our soldiers were dying because they couldn't fight the enemy, and the enemy, like, they don't care. They didn't care. They were just going to kill you however they could. But us, we had to tamper down the way we were fighting, and that's when you saw, so like that, 2003 to maybe 2007, you saw so many IUD explosions and people really getting hurt. That's when they started that's I remember those, because I was in one. It was a Wounded Warrior Battalion, and all the soldiers that were in my battalion were people who lost a leg, an arm. There was a girl that she couldn't stand up anymore because her equilibrium was so messed up from being in an IUD attack, explosion. And so, Obama tampered down how we fought, and we couldn't go in there and just eradicate them. And I mean, to me, it was a reason behind that. We see what's happening today. We see the infiltration in our country, and then we see what Joe Biden did. He left all of our equipment in Afghanistan, and now the Taliban is the world's biggest arms dealer,
Yeah,
right? And
sure.
keeping
Yeah.
for themselves, whatever. But he ran on this, like it says in the article, right? Traditional marriage, but as soon as he got in, well, we're gonna light up the White House in the rainbow colors, and we're gonna do. I lied. He said he lied. He lied, but he also, so she wants you to believe, yeah, we're for Israel. And did you notice that there was not in the Democrat convention compared to the Republican convention, there was protests and burning flags outside of the Democrat convention. And let me say this too, because man, I was really praying on this and thinking about it, and the Lord was like, "Look, you think these people in there let these people come, or they're controlling them. We can control them. We can control because we want to make as much chaos as possible. So you're not watching what we're really doing, you're watching the chaos. But those people you can't control. People with evil in their hearts, you can't control them. They're going to do what they want to do. And they're noticing now the Democrats aren't really, they're not backing us. They're not saying they're backing us. They're not, come out and say what we want. And so what are they doing? They're turning on them. And now they're going to start eating themselves because the Democrats think they can control this Antifa and all these groups that are now protesting the Democrats. And I mean, it was chaos at the Democratic Republican convention. They didn't talk about that at all.
No, no. As a matter of fact, the Republican convention was pretty much a love fest. It really was.
Yeah.
Even the commentators were going, man, you guys are really unified. That's just amazing that how unified they are. But the Democrat, like you're saying, they were looking at, oh my gosh, what is going on here? You've got these groups outside, especially groups burning the American flag, and people are saying, hey, we hate Jews. It was actually very disturbing, and so, gosh, amazing. For those of you who are watching the broadcast here, folks, this is This Week in Prophecy. I'm Sherman Ray. This is Aaron Newton. We'd love to hear from you, folks. If you've got any questions at all, let us know. Just leave them in the comment section. Also, we encourage you, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd love to let you get informed every time that we put the show on, because I think we're going to be closer to 2 now. I've had a schedule change in the last couple of weeks, so we've been trying to do a couple times a week. So you never know. We'll see how many times we can get this show up. Aaron, we're going to turn the corner here, and we're going to start looking at some of the because you sent me a text. So Aaron saw we did a broadcast yesterday on Godstream News. And so Aaron sent me a text message, kind of kind of poking me in the ribs about me yawning during the show. But we had some late breaking stuff, folks. When it's late breaking, you do it no matter what time it is. So I apologize for those of you who might have been watching Godstream News. But you also sent me some dreams. I want to start tackling these now because these deserve a little more time. We're gonna see what these bring out. Which one do you want to start with? Because you sent me a couple of them here, and I'd love to let's see where these lead to.
Okay, I'll just start with the. I'm gonna do these two. I had the 24th and the 25th back-to-back nights, and then I'll do the January 9th because I really believe that this last one is kind of like a standalone, I guess you could say, and it was encouragement to me, but I think it will be a lot of encouragement to a lot of people because I feel like see, cut it out. I feel like I've been saying a lot of things that I saw that weren't good, but I mean, we need to know that God, He has a hedge around His people, right? I think about it like this, you know. He loves His people, the people who love Him. It's like a family. If people in the Bible, it says, I did these things in your name, I prophesied in your name, I cast out demons, and He said, I never knew you, and that's because they were just what is black and white in the book. Okay, well, they can do those things. God will gift you gifts, but if somebody came to my house, knocked on the door, and said, "Let me in," and I don't know them, I'm gonna say, "Get out of here! I don't know you." But it works the same. You have to search for Him, and He will speak to you. If you when you're in your prayer time. So I know that He's telling me things that, like, hey, look, some bad things are happening because these people are not gonna give up what they have, and they have plans, and the plans are so dark and deep that our hearts wouldn't be able to take it when it's coming out, and it will come out because the enemy. Like you said with Kamala, she's mimicking Trump right now. Her policies are no taxing the right. They're going to mimic Trump,
Sure,
just like
sure.
the enemy is going to mimic the Old Testament. I'm telling you, it's going to be that bad.
Is going to be, and for those of you who don't know what Aaron was talking about Kamala Harris mimicking Trump, it seems like in the last couple of weeks, it's a couple of the policies that have come from her, the few policies that she's put out, they were actually Trump policies. And as a matter of fact,
Yeah.
we're not going to try to be as political as as we could be on the show, but actually one of them about the insulin, the bringing the price down on insulin, that was actually a Trump thing also. So, anyways, let's go ahead. I know,
Yeah.
just for a little
I could go
information.
on.
For
I could
folks.
go on. But
So
let me
go
get
ahead.
into this
Uh-huh.
because I just so August 24th, in this dream I was standing talking to this man, and he had a suit, and he looked um you know I don't know how to explain it, but he was very well, groomed. He had a nice suit, but he was an older man, and he said to me, he said, "Don't feel bad for these people." That's what he said, and I'm like, okay, and I'm looking around, and I'm starting to see chaos and people hiding, and I knew there were immigrants who were here illegally, and so these people were. I mean, there was little kids and women and men, and they were like just scattering and trying to hide in like basements and stuff. And so I was just silent, and he's telling me, don't feel bad for them. Uh, Either God's going to do something, or He's going to, this is what happens when you break the law, kind of thing. And so they were scared. They were all from other countries, and the government was rounding these people up. And I'd see them go into a place, and it was almost like like one of those arms, and they were just scooping up all these illegal immigrants who came here illegally, and they're not really contributing. They're just kind of like, I want the free housing, I want the free, this and that. And so they were sending it back, uh, but what they were doing was putting them on the other side of the Mexican border. They weren't even sending them to their homes. They were just like the countries they came from. They were just putting them right on the other side of the Mexican border, and it was like, okay, Mexico, you allowed these people to come through your country. Now you're going to deal with the consequences of that. So I saw, it's almost like, I a lot of people think that Trump is some bad guy and he's mean and he hurts feelings. I remember people saying that they were going to vote for that woman. I can't remember her name. Anyways, because Trump hurt their feelings. And I thought to myself, Moses, when God told him the burning bush, when God spoke through a burning bush and he told Moses to go back to Israel. Tell me about Moses. What was he doing there on that side of the mountain? Do you know what I'm talking? You know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. Exodus, right?
Yeah.
What was Moses doing on that side, over there on that mountain?
What was he doing when he encountered the burning bush? Is that what you're saying?
Why was he there on that side of the mountain? Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Why do you think?
He was running from a murder charge. Okay,
That's
God
true.
spoke
Okay.
to
Yeah.
this
That's
man
pretty obvious. Yeah.
who was
Yeah.
he was wanted by the country of Egypt for murder. Like he wasn't, I would say Trump being taking advantage of the American people. Like California, they just Governor Newsom is trying to enact a law to our sorry, not the governor, the Senate in California. They're trying to give immigrant home buyers $100,000 incentive. But then yesterday, Governor Newsom signed a bill to clean up all the homeless. Right. So what's happening? You have two contradicting sides right now. Here's Governor Newsom saying you can't be homeless when they let them for 4 years just live wherever they want. If you go to California and you drive on any on-ramp, it's full of tents. Any on-ramp, and
Sure.
but he's saying let's clean it up, but we're going to give these immigrants tax incentives. So, anyways, that's what I saw in the dream, and I knew it was like, okay, wow. In my heart, I feel bad for people, but this is what God was doing.
Yeah, and that's funny. And in the natural though, they took a poll, and most Hispanic folks that are living in the country, you would think, hey, there'd be probably a soft spot for most Hispanics seeing these people coming over. It's not there. they're
Yeah.
saying the same thing because they asked them. They go, should these people be sent back? They go, yes, they should be sent back because they see the inequity of it. It's not fair that people had to wait in line, that they had to do things right, and these people just basically walk in, and the first act as an American or on American soil, because they're not Americans yet, and is their first act is to uh, uh,
Break the
be
law.
criminals, to do a crime
Yeah, break the law.
and to break the law. So it's a very tough thing. Before you do that, let me say something here, folks. If you're watching the broadcast right now, and this might be your first time checking us out, Pastor Sherman Ray, and this is Aaron Newton, and this is Prophecy. This Week in Prophecy. Want to welcome you all to the broadcast and encourage you. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to our channel here, and I think we're going to actually be doing a newsletter at some point. I don't know, Aaron. This might be Aaron looking at me like, really? I didn't hear. I didn't know about a
Oh no, no,
newsletter.
I'm good. I'm
But
sorry.
I
My
think,
legs started itching.
oh, but I think that this would be something to be great for. And if you'd like to be on our This Week in Prophecy newsletter, go ahead, send us an email. Send it to us at thisweekinprophecy@gmail.com. That's thisweekinprophecy@gmail.com. We'd love to send you some updates. What's going on? You never know what's going on, but you won't know unless you send an email in. Aaron's talking about some one of the dreams that he had. You had and so we were making some comments on it. But you had another dream that occurred. It looks like it's actually the same day that you had it.
Yeah, it was the next day, actually
Yeah.
the 25th of August. So
Okay.
that was the 24th, and this is the 25th.
Hmm.
And so this is kind of funny because I had a dream a while ago about the same thing, but they were Canadians in America in Hollywood. So let me give
Okay.
you I was walking, and it seemed like it was a concentration camp, like when you see pictures of Auschwitz, how the buildings were. And it's like I was walking down a road and it looked like barracks like that, or even an army barracks. I'm not really 100% sure, but that's what I thought in the dream. Like, this looks like a concentration camp. And everything was really close together, and it looked like, long barracks. And in this neighborhood or town or whatever it was, um, there was American, like we're talking like A-lister actors, the big names that are world famous for their movies, were turning to Jesus. And the Holy Spirit was just basically just pouring out on them. And these people were turning to Jesus, they were repenting, and they were talking about Jesus. And this lady came through the crowd, and she just like, no, I'm never going to do it. I'm not going to repent. And she was talking about Muhammad. And I'm like, I remember she's talking to me, and I said, lady, Muhammad died 600 years after Jesus. So, okay, let's put that together. And Muhammad's still dead, and there's a tomb, and Muhammad's body is in there. So, um, I was telling her, that he lived 600 years. Jesus lived 600 years before Muhammad, and she just would not. She just like gritted her teeth and no, no, no. And I saw her. She pushed her Talib, and she put these little, and they were like brackets, like L-shaped brackets, and it wasn't like that. It was like this. Actually, they were sticking out straight, and so she put three of them on her forehead and like stamped them on there. Like, I don't know, she got them to stick on there, and they were like metal and chrome. And she's like, "No, I'm never gonna do it. I'm just gonna, basically stiffen neck and dig in her heels." And
What?
yeah, that was it. But it was,
So
I saw these
describe
people,
the
these.
L-shaped brackets again.
What's that?
So they were L-shaped brackets, and they
So
were
it's like little tiny, yeah, like little L-shaped brackets like
yeah,
this, right?
sure.
And she like stuck the bracket to her forehead, so they were sticking out straight like that.
How many of them were there?
And there were three,
Three.
and it was like she was defying God with these brackets on her forehead. Like, God was pouring out on these people, but she was like, "No, I'm never gonna do it. I don't care." Basically, she wanted to keep she wanted to live in her sin and live the life that she was used to, because she'll never give up on it. But I knew she was a Muslim, like, so to
Okay.
me it was like she read the Quran, she wore the hair, the talib,
the,
and
the
but
hijab.
yet I'm never gonna
Yes.
a hijab. There you go.
Yeah, sure.
I'm never gonna give in to Jesus when all these people are like, it's like the Jesus revolution, and they're just everywhere out there, just
Yeah.
singing and talking, telling their testimonies. But um, it was I don't know, maybe a year ago, I had a dream that it was the same thing, but they were Americans or Canadians living in Hollywood as actors, and they were turning to Jesus. And the last one I saw in that dream was Celine Dion, and so she was getting an interview, and they were asking her about this, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm turning to God, and I've repented." And the people that were like her publicist, okay, we're gonna go to the next show, and she's like, "Nope, that was it. I'm done with you. I'm going home." And right after that, I learned about her being really sick. She has like muscular dystrophy or something, and it was right after that
Yeah,
dream.
she sure does.
My
Yeah. Mm.
Cecilia showed me that, so I pray for her. Like, I
Mm.
feel like she was the biggest name in that group of Canadian actors. And then the other day, I just heard talking about oh gosh, that real funny guy, the comedian who did all those movies, and he was just basically pouring it out. Jesus is the way. I can't. What's his name? The
Talking
real
about Tim
funny.
Allen. Tim Allen, the guy,
Okay, that's
Tool
one,
Time
but
guy.
the other guy, the real famous comedian, he makes all those funny faces or impressions. He was on In Living Color. What's his name? The guy from Liar Liar.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
He is giving his life.
He
Yeah.
got
And it's amazing. Like, these. So let's keep an eye out for that.
Keep an eye out. Well, back to the
And
lady who
pray.
was Muslim. The one thing that you
Yeah.
and I talked about it yesterday, as a matter of fact, that in Iran, that there has been an exodus of Iranian Muslims. They have 75,000 mosques in Iran, and 50,000 of them have closed, because they don't have enough people to keep them open. They've had over a million people, Muslims, turn to faith in Jesus. And they say it's because, and when you said the L, you were saying the L, and because that's really what they were saying. They were saying, you guys are a bunch of losers if this is what it means to be a Muslim. And they were saying that we're poor, we're drug addicted, nobody likes us, we're living in squalor, we got bad education. And if this is what it means to follow, the Quran, we don't want no part of it. So they've left. Can you imagine a million Muslims all of a sudden go, no, we're done, and have to close 3/4 of all of their churches, not because people are not, there because of COVID. It's because they've left the faith completely.
Yeah. Well, people are tired. I mean, God is pouring out on this world. Like, He really.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just give you a little snippet. I had a dream that I was hovering over Afghanistan, and there was this funnel cone over the country of Afghanistan, and there was an angel next to me, and like he was pointing at it, just like, oh my goodness. Anyways, we'll have to talk about these next week. But he was pointing at the funnel, and it was like one more prayer from the saint, and that thing would just burst out onto the country. And it was like, it's like that underground church in Iran has decided we're no longer going to be underground,
We're done.
and we're telling all these people, hey, you have no idea how good it is to walk in the way. It's like,
And then there's going to be a huge pushback though. There's going to be a huge, so we need to begin to pray for the church in Iran, because the rulers, and I think this comes back to something. It's kind of a common theme that we've got, that we end a show with, is that we have the rulers who want different things for the people though. The rulers are going, hey, no, we know what is best for you, and it's not because of what Jesus says. It's because of what we say. And in Iran, they're saying, no, we don't care if you don't want to be Muslims anymore. You're going to be Muslim. That's how the religion of Islam continued to thrive, is because they threatened to kill everybody. And people go, well, boy, die or, pray 3 times a day. Okay, well, I'll pray 3 times a day. And that's how Islam it wasn't because people said, "Boy, I love what you guys are doing here." You know, you got a great retirement plan.
I remember traveling through the Middle East in the late '90s. I went to like Bahrain and Dubai, Jabali, and I remember the first day that I heard the praying, the iman over the speaker. I remember I'm like out with my friends and I hear it and I'm like, everybody just stops. Okay, stop, pray. And I'm like, what are they doing? And I didn't really understand. I mean, I knew what it was, but I didn't know where we were at. This was what is happening. And I guess I should have known, but it was just you feel the oppressiveness of it. Somebody's I'm doing something and no, no, you make time for God. You make time for God, Jesus. We make time for him because early in the morning when it's hard, like it's 3:30 in the morning, you don't want to get out of bed, but you make that time because you're a living sacrifice almost like it's hard. And that's when I'm going to come pray with you because it's not like, okay, this is my TV time and I'm just going to pray because I get over it and I go back to TV. I pray to God, but the structure of you must do what I say is oppression. You must. And
That doesn't sound like you're
it's
a
dark.
loving God that you want to serve him. It sounds like an obligation, like you must do it. And I'm not obligated to we're not obligated to worship God. We do it because, boy, we really are just excited to do it. We're saying, oh gosh, you got to know about my God, as opposed to, if I don't do it, he's going to kill me, right? Or somebody else is going to kill me,
Well,
right?
and that's I mean I remember the women, covered from head to toe, just a little slit so they could see, and even their hands were covered. It's like you better not leave your house
Yeah.
without being fully covered or
Wow.
we'll beat you. And that was this country. And then you go to like Dubai and there's women in jeans and halter tops, but then there's still the husband decided either, you are going to we're going to follow these rules or not. But then you go
Hmm.
to some countries and it was everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody was like that. And
Amazing.
it's oppressive, man.
It
It's
definitely is
really oppressive.
oppressive. Wow. So, Aaron, you had a third dream that I want to get into. I want to make sure we get into this because, like you said, it really had nothing to do with the other two, but it was this was January. So this is January 9th. Why don't you go ahead and we'll talk a little bit about this one too.
Yeah, this one, I feel like this one is like I said, it's uplifting. It's telling me that look, we're gonna see things, but it's gonna be okay. And I feel like these are all things that are gonna happen, right? We see these things gonna happen, and so like this is all part of watch for this, but then this. So this was January 9th, 2024, and I was crossing a street and I'm walking and there's a bus stop and there's a bus at the bus stop and I walk around the front of the bus just to start walking on that side street and this man comes up to me and he just looked me in the eye and he knew and I knew that he knew everything about me at that moment. As soon as he looked me in the eye, excuse me, he knew anything that was bad or whatever. And I could see he could see that the spirit lived in me. And so he put his hand, anything that needed to be cleaned out, he didn't even ask. He just put his hand on my forehead, started praying, and I could feel myself starting to fall over like, whoa, whoa. Not, oh, be filled and like pushed. It was like he just put his hand right on my head. He just put his hand right on my head like this and was praying. And I'm like, whoa, man, like this is crazy. And so he was praying for me. And I thought to myself, wow, this is what's coming to the church. Like people have no idea like what this really is. And so everything that needed to be cleaned out was out. As soon as he put his hand on me, prayed, everything left. Whatever it was that issues that I needed to be delivered of, let's say, you know, um, cussing or whatever, I'm just using an example. Whatever it is, just that was it. And I remember feeling this like light and happy and like, wow. Like my shoulders were just like, oh wow, I feel like I can relax now. And so after he did that, I'm looking around this bus stop and other people are getting prayed for by other people. And it's just like people talking in tongues and it's getting crazy. And then the bus driver, he didn't walk down the steps. He jumped out of the window and started praying for somebody. And like, it was just the revival of what happened in the upper room was happening at this bus stop. Okay, it wasn't like, you know, I hear this so much on social media. You have one side that says, "No, this is never going to happen. Revival's not in the Bible." Okay, well, Jesus brought the revival and the 12 apostles, and he told them, "Go wait in this room," and the Spirit of God fell on them, and that was it, right? They didn't. It wasn't like they were followers of Jesus, and we all just fell into our slump, and he needed to revive us. He came to break that curse of evil in the world because when anyways, so it was happening at a bus stop. And so as I'm watching the deliverance happen at a bus, I'm just like, man, this is crazy. So he jumped out of the window. I saw the bus driver, and after it was done, it was like I was watching him in the spirit. Like I wasn't following him home my body. I was just watching his life, the bus driver. And he went home, he went to sleep, and he woke up, and he was just like walking around his house whistling, just made breakfast. He made some pancakes, put a happy face with the whipped cream on his pancakes. Like he didn't have a care in the world. He lived in a house. He was just. I felt like I was seeing the after effects of this revival at a bus stop. And that man was, I couldn't even explain the joy he had just to wake up and have breakfast and go to work and drive his bus. And then I heard that song. What was it? Don't worry, be
Don't
happy. I
worry,
think
be
it was.
happy.
I heard that
Sure.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah, playing in his house as he was dancing around. And so I woke up after that, and I thought, like, he's showing me, like, look, it's coming,
Yeah.
and it's not going to be what you think. And
Okay.
that's what he's telling
Sure.
me. It's not going to be what you think.
Mm-hmm.
People want to dissect things, and they
Sure.
want to take the text and dissect every slice, right?
Yeah.
Just like a what EKG or anyways, they want to dissect everything, but
Sure.
God's like, it's not going to be what you think.
Yeah. Well, because remember the Azusa Street revival, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the guys
Azusa.
they're praying for. They're a couple of guys are praying for revival, and it's not like they're in a big cathedral or something like that, right? I mean, they're just kind of it's a couple of folks, and then all of a sudden it breaks out, right? And the last revival we had was it in Wisconsin? I'm not gonna. I don't hold me to that, but it was a
Are you
bunch of
talking
college
about the
students.
last? Oh man,
That,
I gotta show
remember
you
that?
something. Okay, go
So
ahead.
we
Sorry.
had a bunch of college students that were having a regular worship service at their college campus. 20 of them stuck around at the end of it, and that lasted for months, where people come from all over the world. Now, because when you said a bus, you're walking near a bus station or a bus stop. To me, it
Yeah,
sounded like a pretty ordinary thing. But where does a bus take you, right? I shouldn't have said it. What is a bus station or what? It's a thing that takes you someplace, right? But it is not you didn't say you were at a big stadium, you were at Caesar's Palace, that you were at some big theater or something like that, right? You were at an unassuming, inconspicuous place that could be any place in America, and revival broke out.
that's right. That's right. I truly believe that was the point. It was at a bus stop because when
Mm-hmm.
I crossed the street, like I was just crossing the street. I wasn't getting on the bus. I was just gonna walk down the sidewalk. Well, that's how anyways, I turned, and as soon as I turned around the bus, that guy came up to me, and he came from where the bus, like I walked in front of the bus like this, and that guy came from over here, and he just came right to me. He didn't say nothing. He saw the spirit that's already in me, and the things that needed to be the other things that were inhibiting me from really flowing in my gift, from being um, from living in revival day to day. for me to be able to do that to somebody else. Like he didn't say nothing. He just came up to me, looked me right in the eyes, and said, started praying, and it was like I was just fall. I'm like,
But
whoa, you know.
what?
But
But
inside, it was like, don't fall down. People will look at you, and I'm like, no, I gotta
no.
just let it go.
You know,
I
it's
gotta
funny
let it
because
go,
guess
you know.
so another thing that I'm hearing you saying is it was a bus driver. I mean, a bus driver does not, right? He's a bus driver. That's what he does, right? So a bus driver takes you someplace. He doesn't wait for you. He's assuming you want to go someplace, right? That's what a bus driver does. He's not like some guy who's walking down the street going, oh, I wonder if somebody, oh, I want to lay hands on. No, you came to the bus. You were near a bus station. That's what his job is. Somebody very unassuming. So who? This might be a revival of somebody very unassuming. Okay, it could be any Joe. This may not be Billy Graham. This may not be Reinhard Bonnke. You know what I mean? This may not be somebody big name somebody, but it is somebody who maybe that's what they do. Could be. I don't know. You tell me. What do you think?
Well, these people were. I knew that. I know that these people were just everyday people. Where that man had the ability that came up to, because it wasn't the bus driver. Was sitting in the bus seat, like ready to. The door was open when that man came up to me and prayed, and he saw what happened, and then he wanted to get involved. So, however, wherever that man came from, wherever he came to deliver me, like I have no idea, because he did it and then he moved on.
Yeah.
But the
Hmm.
the thing, I think the whole point of this is stop looking to what we think we know. It's going to be totally different,
Yeah.
and he's going to do it, and it's going to be like that, like overnight, and it's going to be, So you were talking about that revival at the university. I can't remember what it was.
Forgot where it was at. Yeah. Forgot where it was at.
So this weekend, did you see this weekend? Ohio State University had all of their big name football players and athletes, and they put a stage and they came out and gave their testimonies. And we're
Yes.
talking like, what was it, like 10,000 people
I,
showed up to this thing?
I didn't
I
see
have to
the whole
look it up.
thing, but I heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that, right, this is like that same thing. Now, what happened? Let's talk about that for a second, because I really feel like this is something that a lot of people don't see.
Mm.
Is when that happened at that university, what did you hear? You heard a lot of people talking about, like, hey, let's watch this. Let's set up cameras 24/7 and we can watch what's happening. But I also heard big names in the church saying, no, I didn't hear enough expository preaching. This is not a revival. No, we're not going to have revivals like that. You just, like they said, I remember the
Mm.
man saying, the pastor should have went in there and told those children to go find a church. And I'm like, my goodness, what is wrong with you? Let God be God. If he's going to come to somebody's house and look at this, right? Let's think about this. I this just whatever happened to me just came upon me one day, and nobody prayed over me. I didn't go and hear a bunch of um, words spoken over me. It was like bam, bam, bam. And I look at the Bible, right? Look at every single Daniel, Elijah. What does it say? Does it say they were in the school of prophets and then they learned how to hear God? No, it said the word came to them. Even Samuel was living in the temple, and I can't remember the priest's name right now. I can't remember his name.
Oh gosh, I was just because his mom actually put him there. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, his mom put him there, and the prophet who was living there was in a bad way. And he wasn't teaching Samuel how to hear God's voice. God spoke to Samuel, and he went and told him, he's like, did you call me? He's like, no, I didn't call you.
Yes. That's right.
Okay. And then he heard it again. He's like, well, that's God. You need to listen. You need to answer him. So he did. And what was the first thing he prophesied? It wasn't like, oh, we're going to this and that. No, you're bad. You're going to lose now because of all the things that you're doing bad. And I think about it like, nowhere does it say. The only person that really, Elisha and Elijah, and even the other prophets who lived in Israel at that time were mocking Elisha. They were telling him, your master is going to be taken away from you, because Elijah went to Elijah and said, hey, come with me. And I think, I mean, to myself, I see them as being almost, almost jealous of
Probably were
the
jealous.
time
Yeah.
and the way Elijah really took care of him. And he
Yeah.
said, what do you want? I want the double portion. Okay. You know, so anyways, it
Very cool.
was just the word came to me. Job, the word of the Lord came to me. The word of the Lord, God spoke.
Yeah.
It was never like, hey, you gotta do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Read this book. I mean, it's good to learn how other people
Oh yeah.
went through it. I read
Sure.
books and
Mm-hmm.
learn what other people's experiences
Yeah.
are, but it's not going to be the way we think, and
You
that's what
never
I
know.
get
You had no idea.
from
Because
from
what we
these
were going to talk
things.
about today too, and I think it gives more credence to what we're doing today, because a lot of people feel like they're alone. And that's, I think, they're gonna benefit by watching a broadcast like this, by knowing, no, you're not alone. You're not going crazy.
You're not.
That the Lord is speaking to you, and listen to what the Lord is saying. Listen to what people like Aaron, what he went through. Other stories about what, and we'll be talking about even more as the weeks go by, of what other people have went through. As a matter of fact, we didn't have time to do it today, and we maybe we'll do it on the next broadcast. We'll talk about some of the Old Testament prophets who were women. And we'll get into that. I think it's pretty interesting, because a lot of people think, oh no, it's just all guys. Well, no, there were a lot of women who were prophets, and so we'll talk about that too. Anyways, we've got to go, Aaron, because we're running really long here, and I want to. I know.
Let me before we go. Let me
Sure.
say something,
Mm-hmm.
because just real quick. Yeah. Like Sherman, like Pastor Sherman said,
Mm-hmm.
it is, you're not going crazy. God is pouring out His Spirit on the earth, and He calls everybody, and some people don't, and it's different ways.
Yeah.
Some people are meant to be pastors. Some people are meant to be prayer warriors. Some people are meant to speak His word, and He gives them that word. And I wish what I learned from other people wasn't how to hear God's voice or how to buy this book, or it was that if you speak God's word, you will be cast out. People will not like you. They will say that you're out of order. They will say that
Sure.
you're bad. I'm the prophet here. I'm the apostle and I'm the priest. Don't you ever tell me that God said this thing to you. I mean, I wish somebody would have told me that, because
Yeah.
it would have helped me along the way to say, you know what? It does, and I know that it doesn't matter what people say to you, because if God spoke to you and you speak it, He will comfort you, because He
Yes.
does.
I know. I think those are good words to end on. I'll tell you, because once again, folks, we've got so much more that we're going to be talking about in the coming weeks. If you've got any questions, really, if you've got any questions right now that you'd like to leave in the comments section, we'd love to answer those. But we also can hear from you if you'd like to send it to us via email. To send it to thisweekinprophecy@gmail.com. That's thisweekinprophecy@gmail.com. Love to answer any of the questions that you have. Definitely check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, and of course on godstream.org. Aaron, thank you so much for once again, brother. We will see you in a couple days, and we'll talk a little bit more about prophecy. Amen.
Yeah.
All right. All right, brother. We'll see you in a bit. Okay.
All right, man.
Hey, and folks, once again, thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast. I've been Pastor Sherman for This Week in Prophecy. Once again, if you have got any questions you'd like to leave us, definitely leave it in the comment section, or you can just write us a note. I would love to hear from you. So we will see you again next week, folks, for This Week in Prophecy, and looking forward to hearing from you. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.